So you called this meeting because you wanted to talk about true dialogue and what's involved in that. The title of the workshop is Toward Belonging, and coming to true dialogue is something that helps people feel like they actually belong to each other, belong to a family, belong to a community. In true dialogue, people end up getting deeply listened to. But there's a process that people, couples, families, groups, communities have to go through.
Anytime you have to hide, anytime you have to pretend, anytime you cannot show up fully as who you are, what you think, how you feel, what you see, what you want, what you need, what you came here to be, that feels way less than human beings are capable of. David Bohm is another one who developed dialogue work as a means. He was a quantum physicist who had a great deal of trouble getting heard because his ideas did not fit in with the orthodox understanding of quantum physics at the time. So he had to go off and develop a system on his own of how can people sit and actually listen to each other and get heard and understood rather than dismissed.
For David Bohm, it applied to his membership in the scientific community because he did get sidelined.
Mm-hmm.
But then he developed this way of bringing together people who don't agree in order to actually enhance their total understanding of physics. I'm wondering if a similar thing has happened in lots of arenas, whether it's political or religious or medical. It's like some people get sidelined or censored. And what we really need is everyone showing up. There's no way any one person can, or any one small group of a whole discipline can know what the total of truth or reality is. It takes all of us coming together.
So we've lost our ability to be with people with whom we disagree, to communicate with them in a sort of civil, friendly argument, to be different. I mean, that's the basis of the republic, of democratic conversation, to be able to do that. But it's also the basis of family systems and partnerships and everything. We are different from other people, and if you can't let other people be different than you without hating them or ridiculing them or reviling them or dismissing them
or trying to change
them, then you can't yourself have the experience of showing up and being accepted for who you are.
So there's a process that people have to go through,
right,
to get from my way or the highway, or you have to change, or
right,
you're to blame, or I have to just shut up so that we don't get into a huge conflict. There's a process that we have to go through to do that. And we can talk about it on a group level, but I can share a little bit about how we have, in our own relationship, come to deeper and deeper levels, both of belonging, but also about getting to a deeper truth about things. So it happened this morning. We were talking about kind of what our plans are for this next period of our lives. And you said, we need to put the big rocks in first. And immediately I got grabbed inside, like, but what if I don't want to put the big rocks in first? Or what if we don't agree about what the big rocks are?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to, I mean, it wasn't a huge gut clench, but it was a little gut clench.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to notice that. So I didn't immediately get defensive or start arguing with you. or just shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I just relaxed a little bit and I went, oh, right, the big rocks. What does that mean? Well, it's the idea that if you put the big rocks in your container first, then you can put smaller things in. If you fill it up with sand and water, there's no room for the big rocks, the most important things. And then I relaxed and I said, yeah, right. So do we agree on what the big rocks are? And the truth is we do.
I wonder if that feeling you had was provoked by, I began the conversation by saying, I had the thought this morning that I am the guardian of the big rocks. Then that sounds like I'm in charge and I'm going to enforce this big rock thing.
Yeah.
And you're immediately being told what to do and all of that.
By a big, smart white guy, what you want to do is protect
Right.
and guard
Right.
our highest being and our highest interests. When I focus on the word guardian, I relax. All of that goes on in milliseconds, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes awareness. Oh, I just got triggered.
Right.
Oh, and what's that triggering based on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, a lifetime of bowing down to Mr. Know-It-All.
Mm-hmm.
Not you, but
Mm-hmm.
all the Mr. Know-It-Alls I've had in my life, and not solidly and forever stepped into, no, I get to have my perspective and it has great wisdom to it. And sometimes I'm way off and it's so nice to have gentle reminders of how I'm not on.
Right.
And so I had to, take a few moments because I've been practicing this for a long time. So it's not that hard for me to do anymore. But then we had a great talk. All of that came out to a great resolution, which was we're going to make this video today.
Right. So then there are agreements or guides or whatever that we put in place when we do a dialogue workshop.
Right.
And the biggest one is you agree to suspend your assumptions.
Right.
Right. And that's what you did. I started talking and claimed primacy in the realm of guarding the big rocks, and you were hit and you had to stop and you go, oh, what am I assuming here? Or what am I reacting to? What's running me in the background? And you agreed to just stop that and suspend that so that you could listen and then continue on. So,
Right.
So you want to say more about suspending assumptions?
Well, it's like that board game. It's a simple concept. Suspend your assumptions,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes a lifetime to master.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is, the first step is you have to notice you've got some assumptions running.
Which is hard because they're not going to feel like assumptions a lot of the time. They're just going to feel like the way it is and what's true.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the way it's always been.
Right.
And heaven forbid I should not do it the way I've always done it. Yeah, if we didn't have some assumptions running all day long, we'd just sit around, drooling.
Right.
Out of being freaked out.
That's
Will the sun come up tomorrow? Well, I'm just going to assume it does, and it might not.
I have to assume that this floor, which the physicists tell me is mostly nothing, will hold me up when I get out of my chair and walk on it. So.
Right. So it's not like assumptions are the enemy.
Well, it's why we use the gentle word suspend.
Right. David Bohm said, lift them up here so you can still see them, but you can see through. If your assumptions are just right here, you can't see what other people are bringing to the table that might be really valuable.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, so suspending assumptions. It's not easy. You have to become conscious, and there's a element of vulnerability. Like, if I suspend my assumptions, then will I be judged if I, in fact, give up some of my assumptions?
Right.
Like, well, you were saying that your whole life and then you let go of it. Well, that was stupid.
Right.
Rather than, oh, wow, I had an epiphany. I had a
Right.
I had a deep realization this changes everything. And to celebrate, one of the things that has to happen in a relationship, in a family, in a group, in a community is there needs to be a certain level of safety where people test it out with each other.
Right.
Am I going to be ridiculed? Am I going to be laughed at? Am I going to be blamed? Or am I in a group of people who can all see their own humanness and their own foibles,
Right.
so that it's okay for me to have my foibles and admit them and have a sense of compassion. And also, I love that part of what you usually bring is a sense of humor, and it's so healing to be able to laugh at ourselves.
What's another agreement we come into in the dialogue circle? Meet as colleagues? Does that language still work?
Well, yes, and colleagues is different from equals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's been this kind of conflation of that meeting as colleagues should be meeting of equals. We're not equal, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But we'd all look the same if we were equal.
Right.
2 equals 2. There's no difference. Colleagues are people that we hold with esteem,
Mm-hmm.
even though we may have very different experiences or areas of expertise.
So colleagues are kind of like teammates.
Teammates.
We're on the same side. In Kurt Vonnegut's terms, you're a charas. You're a group of people who are coming together, often unbeknownst to you, to do a piece of work for God.
I love that idea of teammates, because what if we were on a team to create a sense of belonging for everyone in our family, or we were teammates on a team to create belonging in our community,
Mm-hmm.
in our church, in our family? What if we were colleagues on a team to create deep belonging with each other? We're on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great, I don't think I've ever thought of it that way.
Yeah. We have an agreement. People agree to keep their butt in the chair. To be honest, the reason people don't want to keep their butts in the chair is because true dialogue can feel unnatural and challenging.
Right, because we weren't
Right.
brought up with it.
We were not brought up with this skill set. We did not see it demonstrated around us. We did not train in it from an early age.
In a group, it might be important to keep your butt in the chair, go inside for a bit and say, what's going on? Why am I so triggered right now? What's getting me going here?
Right. There's always the right to pass, which is another of the agreements
Yes.
going into this.
Right. Because I think there's a bodily felt sense. I'm moved to speak now.
Right.
And I'm not moved to speak now.
Mhm.
And that needs to be really honored. The first evening and much of the first day will be people settling in.
Right.
And just feeling like, okay, this is an okay place to be.
But there's the beginnings of something there, because it's like, hey, I'm in a room with other people that chose to do this thing
Right.
with me.
Right,
So there's a potential here. What's going to happen?
right. And we've all agreed to come.
Right.
And so there is that element of automatic, like, wow, interesting, who's here?
Yeah.
Who are these people? Some courageous soul will say something, or naive soul will say something that they think everybody agrees with, because obviously, and then another courageous soul will say, actually, it's not that way for me, and I can't imagine how anybody could hold the other opinion.
Right.
And
then we're off to the races.
And it becomes what would we call it? An intense part of the journey.
Yeah.
An actively intense part of the journey where people keep trying to heal or convert each other to their point of view. And it's okay, everybody's still in their chairs.
Right.
And they're thinking and they're listening and they're serious. And then also sometimes somebody says something really funny because we need that humor, and the whole group explodes in laughter. Right. And we feel belonging in that.
Right.
In that experience. But the first step is to start risking, trying to heal and convert each other.
Right.
And then we come to a place where it's not working. It's an important stage where all of our strategies to create something that just fits for us start falling apart because it obviously isn't working for other people. And then we go into probably the most challenging phase, which is Scott Peck calls emptying. And it's beginning to empty out the assumptions we've had about how we need to heal and convert other people, because that's not working. Or we have to empty out our need to be in control of everything all the time and realize that's not working. For some people, it's emptying out the need to please or the need to fit in with everything, have everything, or the need to avoid conflict because we can't anymore. Sometimes it's verbal. Sometimes it's just done inside oneself. But when we get into that phase, there's something that breaks us open, breaks our hearts open. Yeah. That is, dare I say, transformative. People don't have to shy away because they have had very clear spiritual experiences or not, and still have a profound and moving experience that's helpful and empowering to them in their relationships when they leave.
Sometimes we've called processes like this ego shredding. Right, because that's how it feels. Like,
everything I thought about is important.
But the good news is that it's not self-shredding. All it is ego. All it is kind of habitual, top-level stuff. The way of being that you invented just to survive in the world and make sense of things. Right. But it's not you. It's not your core. It's not your essential self. It's not who you really are. This is not a conceptual workshop. Not that there won't be content or concepts or teaching moments, so much as in the end, this is experiential. Right. And what it does is it puts the possibility of human beings being on the same team, being true colleagues with each other as they meet the world on the menu of possibilities. Right. People leave going, it's possible to do that with other people. Now, you may not have head knowledge of all the steps you have to take to get there, but you know it's possible. And over time, then, you begin to just, you evoke that feeling, that experience that you had, and you can start using it in other parts of your life. Right.
And we would say that's been very true for you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that you started out your adult life very skeptical of human beings?
It's
and
fair.
What's capable, what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And then you've had a large series of experiences in groups where, profound learning happened, profound insights for yourself, profound changes and shifts inside yourself, seeing a group coalesce and come to a place. Right. And so now you really like human beings.
I was wrong.
Thankfully.
They're a great resource, and there's so much smarts and courage and determination out there amongst human beings that it's amazing to watch.
Yeah.
You know.
And love.
Yeah.